It is,
Anyway, real quick.
good afternoon. The time is 6 o'clock. Today is Monday, December 4th, 2023. This is the regular meeting of the Community Development Corporation. First of all, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Under B, invocation and pledge, Mr. Milam.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for today, and we thank you for those folks that are here to serve our community, and we thank you for them and giving of their time and sacrificing other things that they could be doing during the meeting, but they choose to help the city, and we just thank you for them. Thank you for their efforts. Thank you for the time of season that from Christmas, Thanksgiving to Christmas, we seem to be more thankful and caring, and we just pray that we can do that all year long. And like was mentioned earlier, that just thank you for our veterans, for all of those that served and sacrificed so much for us. And we just thank you for all of those that give of their time for the community, our nation, our country. We just thank you for that. We ask this in Jesus' name, amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jackie, anybody signed up for Citizens Forum? Okay. Before we get to work here on the next item, which is item D, action items, I'd like to welcome aboard Mrs. Claudia Villarreal. Welcome aboard. Look forward to working with you. And Mr. Gordon Capone, thank you very much for being here. We look forward to working with the both of you, and it's time to get to work. Under action item D1, consideration and action to approve the minutes of November 6, 2023. It's on page 3 of your packet, is indicated in red.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the minutes from November 6, 2023.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it, that we consider and approve the minutes from November the 6th, 2023.
We have a motion and a second that we approve the minutes of November 6, 2023. Any questions, comments, discussion? That being the case, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Moving on to action item D2, consideration and action to acknowledge the November 2023 financial report under A, monthly, B, year-to-date, and C, sales tax report. That's on page 8 of your packet.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, if you'll turn there on page 8, it just is the listing of the item. And then page 9, I'll spend a little bit of time for the two new folks. That's a listing of our checks written in the month of November and who they're to. I usually don't go down each check. I kind of hit the big ones, like about 6 or 7 down. You'll see 107 Nursery and Garden Center for just under $14,000. That was for work that they did on the girls softball field, in leveling it, putting a irrigation system in, and putting the red dirt in the infield. So and then also resodding it. Then H2O Construction is another one for $44,000. It's the Veterans Memorial that we're building out to the right side in the front here of City Hall. Both projects have been approved by and funded by the city, the CDC. And the rest of them are either normal monthly bills or something that you approve, like a signed grant or a different kind of grants that the CDC provides. So as you can see, this is a total of 17, and that total is $79,190.12. Then the next page, all of those checks go into a certain line item on our budget. The first two, we only have two revenues. One of them's interest on the money that's in the bank account, and the other one is sales tax. Sales tax is calculated in the state of Texas when you buy anything that's the state collects sales tax on. It's 6.25% statewide, and then the cities automatically collect 1%, and they have the option to go up to 2%. The city of Los Fresnos years ago decided to go to 2%. Half of that 1% goes to the CDC, to fund the CDC. So it's half of 1%, or of our total 2% that the city gets, it's a quarter of that. So in other words, the city gets $100, $25 goes to the CDC as that sales tax revenue. Showed the council a report. I should give that to y'all. It would be pertinent. In 2004, the total for the whole city was 400,000. Now we're about 2.4 million. So you can see there's been a lot of growth and business activity through the last 18, 19 years. So if you look at your two lines, we're a little bit behind on interest because we finished two months, which would be 16.6%. On interest, it's 14.77, but we've only logged in 1 month. The interest comes a month later, just because it's just December 4th, so we haven't had time to reconcile everything from November. So once that gets in there, it'll jump up. And then sales tax, we got 2 months of that, 116,000, and to make our budget, we should be at 16.6%. We're already at 20.11. So sales tax is doing very good according to budget. We'll look in a minute on another report as compared to last year. So doing well, already over 20% of our budget in 2 months. Then you see a bunch of line items on expenditures, salaries, attorney, auditor, professional services, and I can get with y'all on what each one of those mean and what we do for those. The big one that's hitting right now is the special projects because of the Veterans Memorial and the things that we did at the park that were really approved in other years. And so we have a surplus that'll end up taking care of that, but it does hit the current budget. So as you can see, we're already at 33%, and you would say, uh-oh, that's way high compared to only 16% of the year gone. But we have to remember that we saved up some money to fund the Veterans Memorial. We saved up some money to do some park repairs. And so we have a fund balance, which I'll present that at another meeting so that you understand how that works. So overall, we're doing very well. Any line item is, none of the line items are out of line. The next page is 11, and that shows there's on the far left, it talks about the month of the fiscal year. And you see at the top part, it's got October through September, and so that's last year. And then we're starting this year. There at the bottom where it says October, November, and you can see it shows the the totals there, and then the first big block says 2 cents. And that one is the total for both the city and the CDC together. The next column about the middle of the page down is 1.5 cent. It's really should be percent, but. Yeah, it should be percent, not cents, but anyway, that's what the city keeps, and the other is 0.5% that goes to the city, which is the column on the far left. If you go down to the bottom where it says November, this year we've got 55,648.44 versus last year 46,122.64. So we had about $9,500 more in sales tax receipts than last year, which is a 20.65% increase. Awesome, because we're already 26% up from last year. In the 2 months, if you look, the month before is 31, a little over 31%, and then look up September, 14, almost 15%, and then August was 51.5%. So that was about the time that we opened 100 back up, or TxDOT opened 100 back up, because you collect the money and then you in 1 month, and then you remit it 2 months later. Well, you remit it, the business remit it the next month, goes to the state, and the state releases it the next month. So that makes sense. August, it was right in July whenever that was done. So it's looking favorably for our business community. And so that's really the report. Good numbers.
Any questions, comments, discussion with Mr. Milo? That being the case, do I hear a motion?
Thank you, Mr. Mylum, for that report. I'll go ahead and make the motion to acknowledge the November 2023 financial report, A, monthly, B, year-to-date, and C, sales tax report.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion that we consider and act to acknowledge the November 2023 financial report, A, monthly, B, year-to-date report, and C, the sales tax report.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second that we acknowledge the November 2023 financial report, monthly, year-to-date, and sales tax report. Any further questions, comments, discussion? That being the case, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Under item D3, consideration and action to approve a sign grant for Beautiful Beginnings 3, located at 100 East 6th Street, and that's on page 12 of your packet. Generally, we have a committee that meets before our meeting, and that committee will review the submissions, the bids, and then make a recommendation to us, and then we either approve it or we don't. The committee is not here because we have new people, and some of those people that were on there are no longer here. So we're going to go through it the hard way. We're going to do it on our own. So I hope nobody's scared. But we'll go to page, let's see, page 12. The action item is a sign grant for Beautiful Beginnings 3, located at 100 East 6th Street. Mr. Milo?
Okay. If you see there, the application is on page 13, and that's the information we ask. And it is a sign grant. And you see there's 3 bids. We made some changes on them because sometimes they write the sales tax, but we don't calculate the tax in there for the total. So the lowest bid there is Excellent Signs at $8,500, and we do 50%, and on a sign grant, it's up to $3,750. Well, 50% of $8,500 is $4,250, so it maxes out on this one at $3,750. If you go to the next page, you see each one of those bids from Excellent Signs and then Industrial Signs. And then the last page, the graphic signs. And then you see a picture of what they're looking at there on the, and it's on the corner of East 6 and 1847 South Arroyo. People that have been around the old Peterson home is what I know it as. And so that's the one that'll be kind of on the front there on 17, and then on 18 it'll be on the eve of the home, be a daycare. So back to the form, we look at it as a staff, and so our recommendation is the low bid, $8,500, with the max the city would pay is $3,750. And so that's our recommendation.
Thank you for your report, Mr. Milo. Any questions, comments, discussion?
Yes, I have a question. You said low bid is 8,500, but there shows there in line 3 graphic spot at 8,045.
Did I do the wrong one? I sure did. Wow. So.
Are we capped at 3,750?
Yes.
Okay, so we
So
have a
it's
cap
the
on what we
graphic
can
spot.
provide. We don't automatically give, Mr. Gordon, we don't give one half of the bid. We have a cap on it, and that's, they max out at that amount. If they spend more, they're on their own.
I believe he was just letting,
Yeah.
Milo know that. If you noticed the lowest bid.
I didn't get the lowest bid. I don't know how. I must have
Well,
looked
I
at
see that now.
I must have looked at 87. So my correction, it is the graphic spot, the lowest, which is $8,045. Half of that would be $4,022.50, which is over the $3,750 that we give. So it's still maxed at $3,750, but graphic spot is that. My apologies. Good catch.
Thank you for the correction. You know, the graphic quite often is the bid winner in these things.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that they weren't, but they were.
So it goes to the graphic spot,
Yes. Thank you.
not Excellent Signs.
Any further questions, comments, discussion? Do I hear a second? I'm sorry, a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Yes, you need to.
Take a motion to approve action item number 3, consideration and action to approve a sign grant for Beautiful Beginnings 3 located at 100 East 6th Street.
I'll second that motion that we consider an act to approve a sign grant for Beautiful Beginnings 3 located at 100 East 6th Street.
There's a motion and a second. We approve a sign grant for Beautiful Beginnings 3 located at 100 East 6th Street. Any further questions, comments, discussion? That being the case, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Moving on to item number D4, consideration and action to approve funding for the 2024 Earth Day event. That's on page 19 of your packet, Mr. Milo.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this will be the second year. I think maybe we did something the year before, but officially, last year was the one we put a lot of effort in, and it was a very, very successful event. If any of you went, there was a lot of folks, a lot of vendors, a lot of activity bringing to our community for that day. So it helped our businesses before the event and after the event. So our budget last year was $3,000, and we're asking for $3,000 again this year for the event, and that's just to help with different expenses that goes on for that. The CDC staff works good with a huge volunteer group that does pretty good in putting that on. So kudos to them for getting the good volunteers to do that. So that's our recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Mylum. Any questions, comments, discussion?
The only question I have, that we don't have a set date for that event?
Yes.
It's the third Saturday of April.
Third Saturday?
The answer is yes. It's, I believe, third Saturday of April. And if it's different, I'll email you all. But we start promoting the whole, right after the rodeo, the whole event during April Earth Month. And Earth Day is the event. We work with the school district, the library, and of course, the volunteers. We have a very big group. And Texas A&M Life, Texas A&M Extension Service, and others. It's a wonderful program, and it's really taken off.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Mylum.
Google is your best friend. It is April 22nd, which is actually falls on a Monday this year, so we'll probably do it April 20th, the Saturday before, just to, because having it on a Monday is kind of tough for people's, but it falls within that month, so that's probably what we'll do.
Thank you, Mr. Mylum. Any questions, comments, discussion? Mr. Capone, would you like to make a motion?
Certainly. I'll make a motion to approve action item number 4D4, consideration and action to approve funding for the 2024 Earth Day event.
Ms. Villarreal, would you like to make a second?
Yes, I would like to second the motion for consideration and action to approve funding for the 2024 Earth Day event.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second that we approve funding for the 2024 Earth Day, limited to $3,000 as indicated by Mr. Mylum. Any further questions, comments, discussion?
I do have a question about Earth Day. I myself went last year. It was a great event. When do you start reaching out to the local businesses about participating? I think maybe that's something that we should do a little bit more about, getting more businesses out there. I'm not sure if that's something we can comment on.
Yeah, January they've met once, but they're kind of getting together. There's a couple that changes in the committee, but they've met already and we'll meet again and probably kick it off right after the first of the year. So we'll be able to get something business to the businesses then in January. So that way they have 3 full months to think about it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any further questions, comments, discussion? That being the case, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Moving on to item D5, consideration and action to approve funding for a business expo. That's on page 20 of your packet. Mr. Milo?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is something that we did a few years back. I don't remember how long, it was before COVID. Then COVID kind of stopped the momentum with that. But having an event, maybe at the community center, to invite existing businesses to see what's available as far as if a person's looking to expand their business, or of course we would like to get new businesses too, where we would have people there that would be a financial partner to that. UTRGV, they can do help with business plans and just have and it could be some of both. We've talked about where we had some little presentations, but then also have people that have a table set up with their things that a person could come one-on-one more and interact with those different groups. I know Desi, I didn't even talk to him about it today, but I know he received an email trying to get one of the partners, and they're booked up. We wanted to try to do it end of January, 1st of February. They're booked up until March, so we'll talk about the date And once again, give plenty of time for people to do it in advance, so, but we need funding for flyers, funding for banners, funding for, to make it happen.
Everything.
The other thing we did, which was real good, if you'll recall, kind of Desi's brainchild, was a taste of Los Fresnos, is invite a few of the businesses to provide just little finger foods that showcases their business. And we don't want to do the same ones every time, but rotate that around to people can, hey, this is what I do, come to my place. So that's also included in there.
I can help with the menu I eat everywhere in Los Fresnos.
So,
Thank you.
I have a quick, so the 3,000 would be towards the, what, for the advertisement, the banners and,
Just the total event.
okay, so basically the business are gonna be just providing what they wanna, to showcase their business, I guess, like restaurants and,
Yeah, that's another piece to the puzzle, so that makes it a more interesting event instead of just coming and having some tables set up or some presenters. You can also have some mingling with food items. Everybody likes it when there's something to eat.
Any further questions, comments, discussion?
I do have a question. What location were you thinking of for this event?
One was community center, and if it outgrows that, we also had talked about fire station, as long as it's not hot. We've talked about there, you can open it up and have quite a bit of presentations, and we could also, if it grew and we needed air conditioning, I know we could partner with a school with one of their larger facilities.
So this event is gonna be this coming year?
Yes,
We're already in November.
next,
Sorry.
in the next 3 or 4 months,
Oh, in the next 3 or 4 months?
yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, so, because I think we need to start getting work on it.
Yes.
Are we inviting the businesses, people that are in charge?
Yes,
Were you going to be asking for some sort of sponsorship from the vendors or the businesses, or no?
no, just asking them to come and if they need help in any way, that they can be shown that there's a lot of things that are available to a business that maybe some people don't know about, as far as funding, grants, like the business plans. I know the state representative was wanting to send some people from Austin that, hey, this is how you can apply for funding to not just local level, but state level. So that would be interesting.
I think this is a great idea.
Any further questions, comments, discussion? The only comment I have is that we have, the focus is, as it says here, it's, folks are requesting we provide information on how to start businesses and help with existing businesses. So that's going to be our focus. One, to draw outside businesses, but also, and tutor them on, hey, you got to watch out for the XYZ and make sure it doesn't come and haunt you. But you also want to help existing business. A lot of these businesses are not aware of what the CDC or the city has available. So that's our focus. I have a concern with sponsors, because if we start to get sponsors, the sponsors may want to control the agenda, and the agenda is ours. Our agenda is let's help new business people and let's help those that are existing. So that's my comment. Any further comments, questions, discussion? That being the case, all in favor, say aye.
we haven't had a motion.
Do I hear a motion?
Want to make a motion?
I'll
would
make the
like-
motion that we consider and act to to approve funding for a business expo.
I'll second that motion, consideration and action to approve funding for Business Expo.
There's a motion and a second. We approve funding for a business expo as discussed. Any questions, comment, discussion? That being the case, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Moving on to item D6, consideration and action to assign board members to committees. That's page 21. Mr. Mott?
Yes, sir. I tried to list them out. There's three committees that we need to look at. The Business Development Committee, and that's the one that was mentioned that looks at the sign grant, the storefront grant, landscaping grant, and the interior grant. Marco's been on that, and I hope he would stay on that to kind of, since we'll have two new members on there, at least for a while, but y'all can move them however you want and replace Mr. Lubin and Mr. Escobedo. And then the Advertising and Promotion Committee, there's the three on there, and that's looking at the CDC has, by state law, 10% of your budget can go towards advertising promotion of the city. And that's in the form of flyers, or form of advertising in magazines and periodicals, advertising promotion through, we do promotion through the 4th of July celebration, the Christmas in the park and parade celebration that just happened Saturday, the Halloween festival, the Easter rodeo, stock show, Conjunto Festival, those kinds of events that bring people to our community. And so that's what they look at is, are we good with that? And it doesn't take a lot of meetings, but before the year we meet, before the budget year we meet to kind of go through all of those. So that's that one. And then the last one is a Community Development Capital Improvement Program, and that's Henry and Daniel, and that meets with the Parks Board, and looks like kind of has a 3 to 5 year look. And we spent a lot of time last year getting that in place. So really all we do now is just kind of massage it and move it forward. So that's the three committees.
Okay, so we need the Business Development Committee, that's the beautification and the sign grant, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's the one we just did today for that first business. And then the next one, it just needs, advertising promotion just needs one member.
Correct.
Rather than get out a big stick, I'm going to ask for volunteers. Anybody want to volunteer for the first Business Development Committee?
Okay, if allowed to, I'll go ahead and continue serving as part of the Business Development Committee.
Okay, you're on the hook already, so I'm looking for new faces.
I would like to volunteer. I do have a question. This is a monthly meeting as well?
Not necessarily. So there's some months that we don't have a grant that's available, and what we do, we meet at 5:45 before this meeting and go over it. We've never had too many that we couldn't handle it within that time frame. So you just come 15 minutes early, and so it doesn't take another day or evening.
It basically adds 15 minutes to this meeting.
Yeah.
They meet beforehand.
Okay, I would like to volunteer for the Business Development Committee.
Okay?
I would also like to volunteer for that committee.
Awesome.
Okay, we
That's full.
have,
I said, awesome, that's full. And the advertising promotion doesn't have to have three. It can stay with two, or somebody can volunteer for that one too.
how about the last one? The Community Development Capital Improvement Program.
We only do two so that we don't have to worry about, because it goes with the with the park board. And
Okay, so we have Mr. Gordon and Ms. Claudia assigned to this committee. We basically got it covered, correct?
right. And then leave the capital development improvement program the way it is.
Do I hear a motion?
I have a question. Were you going to fill that slot on the Advertising and Promotion Committee then, or?
You can, someone volunteer for that, or we can just go with two. It's
Another
up to you.
question on that then, is that kind of similar, or when are the meetings for that held?
About once a year in June, July, before we do our budget, unless there's something else that comes up that says, like a new event that we're thinking about putting on, that we would call and say, hey, what do you think about this? It just helps to bounce it off of a group first to see if that's what we should do. So it's not a lot of meetings.
I'll go ahead and volunteer for that one as well then.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we assign board members Claudia Villarreal to the Business Development Committee, as well as Mr. Gordon Capon. And Mr. Gordon would also like to be on the Advertising and Promotion Committee. Do I hear a second?
I'll go ahead and second that.
Any further questions, comments, discussion? That being the case, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Moving on to item E, report by CDC consultant under number 1, report for December 2023, A, economic development, B, community development and training. And that's on page 22 of your packet.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. My report, as you can see, and I just want to welcome our 2 new members. I just give you a packet of what we give of information to businesses, whether those existing or any new industries or businesses that are coming to the area. And we also mail these out to the Port of Brownsville and all those industries and any others that Eddie Capirano and all these people send us, like the LNGs, referrals about Los Fresnos. We promote Los Fresnos through information, and data is provided in that packet that we've been working through the years. I'm going on 13. I think Mr. Miller's going on almost 18 here. And I'm an economist with a master's degree in economics and government, and I contract with you all for the purpose of developing strategies from the community, that means from the board, but I'm a consultant. Mr. Milam is the pilot of the city, all departments, including the EDC. In this case, it's called Community Development Corporation, which is a 4B Texas EDC corporation operated under the EDC Act of 1979 as amended. We're very knowledgeable of the different programs. We also have a lot of documentation we provide small businesses, other than packets of business development, statistics, et cetera, demographics, trends, et cetera. We have other information developed that we'll be sending you through the emails. But as a report, part of my contract is to report to you every month. You can see the summary statement of working together as a team with the city, CDC, the chamber, and a lot of volunteers that we have from different sponsorships that you all sponsor through the year, and as part of the Advertising and Promotion Committee Development Plan. That includes the Los Fresnos Rodeo, just finished, the Earth Day that you're anticipating, promos as an expo that you're also planning on, that we'll keep you informed on, and Conjunto Festival that comes in the fall, and of course the 4th of July festivity and others that you all sponsor to keep the brand of Los Fresnos throughout not only the RGV, but throughout South Texas and all the industries and businesses around us. The first part of the report, you can see, is working with our building department, or rather building department, permits office, and give us an indication every month of what traffic we have into City Hall coming through their office. And you can see the numbers here. An increase. Mr. Milam has increase also, and so do I. But we report this because the others are business increase on site locations, bigger businesses that we are working on for site location in this area. The second part you can see is information on that other inquiries that Mr. Milam and I do, and I have this past month visited with several outside companies, McAllen and Houston, from McAllen and Houston, and toured the area. In summary, the area is a fantastic country, urban area. In some cases, I've told the folks, we're like Sugar Land is to Houston, or Texas City is to Galveston. We have both the benefits of the economy because we commute to those areas to do business, to work, or we do business here to supply retail and services needed by the growing community, not only Los Fresnos, but its trade area, which is comprised of almost 35,000 population. So the second area, you can see we're already working and communicating with USDA, EDA, the Cameron County Rural Economic Development Program, and other nonprofit organizations to develop this Expo 2024 that is anticipated in the next 90 to 120 days. We are also kicking off, we had 3 interns, but one is pretty much a regular intern for 20 hours a week that works at the office for 20 hours a week and also assist in networking out there with the community, outreaching, as I do, but they do other outreach. And I'll explain it to you later. We have 3 and 2 that come in during the break, during high, low times. For example, the rodeo will be kicking off in February. Our job for one of your sponsors, because you sponsor the rodeo and Conjunto and others, is to put posters throughout the Rio Grande Valley, as far as 5 points in Corpus Christi and some other areas that we can reach. It is doing all your programs, all your branding and programs and promos that can report to you are doing great. And it's whatever we've been doing as a team, been working. At this point, I want to thank Val and Terry at the Chamber and the Rotary and others that have been so supportive of all these activities that we work together with. He just finished our one Christmas parade, and he just done another one before, Halloween. And he helps us with all the other 4th of July, Conjunto, etc. With that, a great chamber like we have, that's unmatched in South Texas, it takes a team. So bottom line, and then at the bottom, you'll see community development training. The reason I use training is we work with workforce, and at one time, we set up a training program here at the old fire station with a nonprofit corporation. When there's demand markets and there's funds available, we try new initiatives to try to bring more opportunities for the people, the working class, and of course, the small businesses. And community development, as you can see, a lot of the activities are going on. The interns help as well as the chamber in getting out the jobs to meet the mission of community and economic development. I'll be sending you some more information as we update it through email, so you can get well acquainted with the board and how we operate or work. If you have any initiatives, I recommend you talk to the chairman, Mr. Milan. He'll give me working marching orders, and I come back and develop initiatives for you. Look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Any questions? with Mr. Martinez. Moving on to item F, report by General Manager under A, Veterans Memorial, B, Little League Fields, C, Soccer Goals, D, Commercial Development, and E, Christmas decorations. That's on page 24 of your packet. Mr. Mylum.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the first one, Veterans Memorial, is coming along slowly. They did put some blocks in today, and they have, the rain has been sporadic, so it kind of messes you up. And just because it rains one day, you can't go the next day because it's wet. So some of that's been there, and I think they work on other projects too. So we don't have a timeline yet for that completion. The original project had it if there was no rain days at the end of December. By looks of it, it won't be there. I'm okay as long as it gets done within a reasonable time and looks good and does what we want it to. Val and I met with a group of veterans. What are they called? I was looking real quick. I can't remember.
Warriors. Wounded warrior? Yeah, wounded warrior. Or the ones from Brownsville.
Yes, from Brownsville of the RGV. Good group, and just to begin to work on a I guess ribbon cutting or whatever ceremony we're going to have when we open it up. It'll be open once it's done, but have an official grand opening, a grand event for it. We want to have some good things. Trying to get a flyover. I think it'd be pretty cool. We want to have veterans involved in that with a chaplain and from a veteran group to lead a prayer, someone in national anthem. We would love to have some kind of Army band or a portion of one to do that. If not, we have the school that we can use, but we would like to include veterans as we can. Another piece was the 6 branches is to have like we're going to do, if you'll recall, on each one there'll be a button you can push that tells history about it. As part of our program, tell that history in a couple minutes and have a veteran for the Army, have a veteran of the Army do that, and then go to the Marines, have a veteran of the Marines, and then so forth all the way through the list. Then have a short speaker. We don't want it to be a very long event. People get too hot, get too tired, so 30 minutes would be the way we'd want to do it, and then end it with 21 gun salute and the taps. That group does it, and probably bring tears to the house with that. But that's what we're working on with that group, and I think it's going to be a pretty awesome event when we get there. The other thing that they said they would love to do, they have a flag that they've preserved from, right now it's in IBC Bank at 1847 and Price Road, I think, 802. And it's the only flag that was brought from Vietnam, right?
Yeah, there's a whole story to it as to how that flag was saved, how it was recaptured from the Vietnamese, and how it tracked all around the world before it ended up here.
And
Very interesting story.
there's been people offer lots of money for it, but they want to keep it here, and so what they would like to do is bring it here for that event too, and I think that'll be pretty awesome. So that's a Veterans Memorial, lots going on, but
May I comment
be a
on
while.
one item there with the Veterans Memorial?
yes.
I just recently heard that there's a local a local gentleman that's a retired 2-star general. He's from here. And I think sometimes he's available for like speaking and stuff like that. That would be interesting, or I think great, have someone from here, from Los Fresnos, especially that high in the military.
Do you know who that is? Or can you
I
find out?
know, I don't know who he is, but they tell me it's Gus Garza's brother.
I know.
Yeah, and he's
Spoke at
a,
the high school one time,
yeah, he's a two-star general, retired.
Marine.
Well, you know more than I do, but anyway, that would be something great, and, you know, I don't know if he gets paid for speaking engagements, but, I don't think we're gonna pay, but, maybe it's a civic duty will kick in, being he's from
So
here.
it's a brother,
The brother of Gus, his name is David.
David?
He'd be more than willing to speak. He's a true Marine, loyal, patriotic. He'll donate, well, he'll give his time.
They told me he lives in San Antonio or something like that. Maybe we can cover expenses or something, but that would be great, I think, because he would be a product of our community and our schools.
That would be good. That's not, that's why we're kind of throwing it out there, discussing, the more discussion, you hear more people. Because one we had heard about is a lady that's also, I don't know how ranked, but she's from Brownsville. Doesn't mean that's bad being from Brownsville, but I do think Los Fresnos is good, since it's here, so. Good.
Okay, thank
Good
you,
for
Mr.
that
Martin.
name. Little League fields, they're complete and growing. I just kind of wanted to make a statement that we get a lot of pushback from people wanting to use the fields, and we like to keep the fields as game fields, and not practice fields. It becomes very difficult this time of year because it gets dark so early in the afternoon. When we allow people to practice, you know, when they do a grounders practice to third base or shortstop or first base, they get everybody there and they hit, and then there's no grass there. And so all the work that we've done and y'all put in, and also the Little League group, it really wears it out. We're working, Carlos and Raul are working on a lighting plan for Memorial Park to add some lights there for baseball, but also because we get a lot of requests for football. And the same thing happens when you got a line, they line up and they run plays and they go back to the same place. And so before long, our great Little League field that was made for baseball, we don't have another place for the football, so we let them use it, but it wears it out. So if you hear it, that's kind of why we don't like to let practice happen there. We have to come up with another solution, so we're working on that. So I just wanted you to know, if you hear that, it is a concern, but man, why do you spend all the money we spend on the fields and then let it be torn up so quick?
I think the school district has been very helpful because I know they've been using that big open area, the back parking lot to the stadium at Whipple. And I was freaking out the other night. They were still practicing, little kids, football still. And it was dark, but they were out there.
They have a league that, I guess it's becoming like the baseball, year-round baseball. It's kind of like year-round football.
Yeah, but I do see football and baseball being practiced out there a lot, and a lot of teams.
I think, to be fair to everybody, I think there should be just one simple rule. If one team can't use it, then nobody can. Because, it upsets people when you see other teams, for some reason, have access to the field and they're using it and they're practicing it. And that's not fair because it gives them an advantage.
Absolutely. I have opened the dialogue with the school district. I know we wouldn't ask for the main fields, but I do know that they have some practice areas that are now turf. And, maybe I've asked, we could pay for lights, we could pay for a school official to be there that time, pay them extra from the city to be able to use those facilities when they're not being used, because they have a lot of areas that could be used, especially they have so many areas that have got artificial turf on them, and so it wouldn't matter if a football team or a baseball team used and use that same area over and over and over again. It's not going to ruin the carpet. So,
I think the key word is like the movie Sandlot.
yeah,
You got a lot of fields around here that they can practice on, and we can save our game fields for game day.
right. Soccer goals, they've been ordered. They'll be arriving soon. In fact, the people keep calling Carlos and say, hey, haven't they got there yet? And he goes, no. So they're in transit. Commercial development, if you'll recall, the ones here, the others not. It's just a proposal we're working on that is to the west of Walmart that would be a road that would separate two large properties that could be developed for commercial that would run from Highway 100 to the north, just to the west of Walmart, and then end up coming back to the east to Evergreen Street. It would open up a pretty large corridor for commercial development of some kind. And so we're working on that. We'd need to get right-of-ways and things like that. And once we get that secure, then Desi takes the lead in how can we get funding for that. And I just think it'd be a huge win-win for us for that. Then the last one is Christmas decorations are up and they look good. And for the new folks, that was funded by CDC to hopefully have people come to our community and look at them and go wow, and go buy some tacos at the store or restaurant or stop at the gas station. And so that's all of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Mylum. And great job on those Christmas lights. I love them. Also, just this quick comment on what Mr. Martinez mentioned. I don't get out late at night or at night hardly. By sundown I'm at home. But I was out the other night and there's a lot of lights in Los Fresnos. As you're driving down 100, I mean, it is Little Vegas, just so many signs. And I think that's a result of our great effort with our sign grants and things like that. So that's my only comment. Any further comments? Thank you. Moving on to item H. The time is 6:58. Meeting adjourned.
Picture. What? You don't think it'll show?